What does spiritual multiplication look like in our time? Spiritual multiplication is the supernatural process of God's life propagating in the world. As we encounter God in prayer, God's life grows in the soul of a disciple, and as those disciples connect and care for each other, God's life matures and reproduces, multiplying disciples. This is a story of how spiritual multiplication happened in Colorado Springs. In the fall of 2017, God brought together four men, Dave, Josh, Luke, and Tom, who met in Dave's home to pray and seek the Lord together. The Holy Spirit led them to three foundational principles that have been at work through all eternity: prayer, friendship, and evangelization. The group itself embodied all three of these principles. It was a prayer group, it was a group of friends, and it was a group held together by the good news of Jesus. This first small group became known as the St. John's Corps, and it set the pattern for every core group that would replicate after it. This is the pattern. The men pledged to spend 30 minutes in prayer every day, to meet 3 times a month developing friendships with men, and to invite 3 men a month to come to a Christian event. The Lord blessed this pattern by bringing new men into the movement, men like Trent, Jesse, Father Michael, Ryan, and Hector. In the fall of 2018, Ryan launched a second men's group. Father Michael invited Ryan to host his corps at St. Patrick's Parish. Jeff, Bill, and another Mark also joined, and this second group became known as St. Pat's Corps. At this point, Bishop Sheridan took notice and offered his spiritual blessing and aid to the movement. In the fall of 2019, God brought me, Mike Dill, to Colorado Springs. I organized with Hector and Trent from the St. John's Corps and Tim from Holy Apostles to form the St. James Minor Corps. God brought in new men like Dustin, Jonathan, and Josh. At the same time, Tom and Jesse split off from the original St. John's Corps and founded Peter the Rock Corps in Monument. In the spring of 2020, Jeff from the St. Pat's Corps and Matt started the Corpus Christi Corps. That summer, Father Michael moved from St. Patrick's over to St. Benedict's in Peyton. Mark continued the St. Pat's Corps, while Bill moved to St. Benedict's and still leads the core group there today. Meanwhile, in 2020, I was meeting weekly over Zoom with an airman named Alex who was stationed in Germany. We discussed these principles of disciple making, and Alex started a group there. Little did either of us know that in 2021, the Air Force would move Alex to Colorado Springs. When he arrived, Alex linked up with me at the St. James Corps, and in the summer of 2021, Jesse began hosting the St. Augustine Corps. Patrick stepped up to co-labor and build Peter the Rock Corps along with Tony, and in September 2021, I connected a guy named Kevin with Mark for the St. Pat's Corps. In the fall of 2021, Alex, Josh, and Deacon Mike started Hardcore Coffee at St. Gabriel's, and in the winter, Tim invited another man named Dustin to experience the St. James Corps. At the end of 2021, this movement inspired a teenager named Liam to start a young Catholic gentlemen's group in Castle Rock. In spring 2022, Dustin and Ryan launched the St. Paul's Corps. David and Ron started St. Francis Corps in Castle Rock, where Father Chance would be assigned in July. In fall of 2022, Peter from St. John's Corps and Kevin from St. Pat's Corps teamed up with another Tim and Deacon Jim to start the Mount St. Francis Corps in Colorado Springs. Also that fall, Jonathan and Josh started the Acts 17 Apologetics group. Prayer, friendship, and evangelization. These three eternal principles were at work in the hearts of each man. But these principles are not merely the work of men, as if men were starting a club. This is a cooperation in the work of God, who is a father growing his family. So it became a movement to love God, love people, and to make disciples. A movement at work from the beginning of time. This is a small chapter in the story of that eternal movement. How about you? What's your part in his story? How will God multiply his life through you? It all begins with an encounter in prayer.